Hi everyone, thought I'd just come on and give you a little bit more information about our Dolly. She's been there now for around about 2 years, doing all her chores, which I told you before, and then two big things happened in her life that would change her life dramatically. The first one was that she was to help do a picnic for 20 people at Victoria Park in London. In them days, picnic was a much more formal occasion than it is today. It wasn't just slap some sandwiches and a few biscuits in a basket and off you go. It was a big thing. The family decided they wanted to entertain 18 people besides themselves and their son. But anyway, they decided to do the full-on big picnic treat. In them days, it was Mrs. Beaton. She was the lady that you looked to find out what should be done, what was the correct etiquette, what was the right food to serve on the right picnic on the right day, and they did. They had to work a good 2 days preparing everything that was needed for this particular picnic, and they did really well. I mean, they worked hard, and Dolly and the kitchen maid and the cook were phenomenal at doing what they'd done. Dolly had got so used to everything now that she could literally do it with her eyes shut. First of all, some of the food, I'll just let you know, just some of the food that went into making it for 20 people for a picnic, as I say, in Victoria Park in London. They would have half a joint of beef, half a joint of cold boiled pork. You would need 1 rib of lamb, 1 shoulder of lamb, 2 roast fowl and 2 roast ducks, half a ham, 1 tongue, 1 veal and ham pie, 1 pigeon pie, 2 medium-sized lobsters, obviously cooked, 1 piece of collared calf's head, 8 lettuces, 3 baskets of salad and 3 cucumbers. Now that was for 20 people. Obviously, on top of that, you'd got to take the desserts. And you could make that as homely or as amazing as you like, but there's always stewed fruits, cakes and biscuits, mousses, jellies, things like that would be taken along too. And also your ale, your ginger beer, sherry by the bottle, and of course champagne if it was that kind of celebrationary picnic. On the day, they all got up ready to leave, but of course the people from the kitchen had to be at the park first. They've got to set up. You don't expect somebody that's rich and got servants to lay out the blankets, do you? Well, anyway, they would be there, set it all up, and then later on along would come the ladies of the house and the guests. It was a very big thing, and everybody was dressed to the nines. You wouldn't believe that they were going out just for a picnic. Everybody looked superb. All the women had on the Sunday best, all the men were dressed in suits. It was a wonderful day. If any children were invited, well, it was, as they say, children were to be seen and not heard. But anyway, the whole day went fantastically. And while she was there, she spotted that one of the other families had brought with them their second footman, a young man called Bill. I reckon he looked about 17, 18, and she got a bit of an eye for Bill, and every time she caught sight of him, she would just give him that little head down glance and look away, flirting. But anyway, at the end of the day, they had worked so very hard that the man of the house said, right, okay, off you go. You really do not need to be here now. We're going to go home, we're going to chillax, we're going to relax, and we're just going to sit indoors. It's been a hefty day, there's lots of sun, we're going to rest. So they let the staff who wanted to go off to a local fair, which was the Greenwich Fair, which was held most Easters and things like that, high days and holidays. It was a big fair, very noisy, actually quite smelly, and there was a lot of unusual people there. There were poor people, rich people, but generally of a night it would be the more shadier characters possibly. The working class people, the people that lived on the street and made their money and their living from the street. Some of the things that she would have seen as she was walking around, which she would have found really fascinating, was obviously there would be photo booths. Now that wasn't something that everybody had. Every family had a camera. You went to a photo studio to have it done professional, and they would actually have people there to take photographs of them you if you wanted them. There was the carousel, there was the helter-skelter, there was all the things of a fair, not perhaps as we know them today, none of these high-speed, turn you up in the air and throw you upside down treats, and also sideshows. I mean, I guess there would have been all sorts of things at different times of the year. Food, potatoes, roasted chestnuts near to Christmas. There would have been all the things that you could have. Sausages, maybe even candy floss and sweets, because in Victorian times sweets were really coming into their own. They were easier to get hold of and they were cheaper. They were more for the working class as well by then. Some of the sideshows you might have seen, there had been the strong man, there could have been the bearded lady, there could have been the nose-faced girl, if a little girl had a snub nose or something. Things that today we would turn our noses up to, but in them days, that is how those people made their money. And she would have seen all these things. And she would have been amazed, because she hadn't seen things like that. That was just amazing to see such things. Tattooed lady, things like that were just all big things to her. But anyway, while she was at the fair, it became plainly obvious that her and Bill were going to be good friends. They walked around, they chatted and they laughed. And it was more than obvious that her and Bill, the second footman to one of the guests at the picnic, were going to end up as boyfriend and girlfriend. It was just the way they were together. The touch of the hand, the electricity, the glint in the eye, the smile, the shy nod of the head when he offered her something. She was just enthralled by this man. Well, lad. She was enthralled by him. She thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. So, from then on, it became that on a Sunday afternoon, as I had told you previously, on her afternoons off, it was time for her and her beau to go out. He treated her amazingly. They walked along the Thames, they walked along the Strand, they went out further afield so they could walk along the country lanes together. They had little picnics, as I've said, which very kindly the cook saved them cuts off the meat so they could have, because the cook had become so fond of her. She didn't have children of her own, the cook, and she wanted a daughter and had always done so, and had really taken to Dolly more than she did the other servants that she'd ever had there helping her out in the kitchen. She really liked her. So anyway, so now we got Dolly, who has a beau. I wonder where they went. I wonder if they held hands. Was that permitted in Victorian times? Did he send her a valentine? Because they did have valentine cards in Victorian times. Who knows? I definitely don't know. But then, the next time, the next thing that happened was to do with the young kitchen maid, who by now was in her 20s. And I'll tell you later, but I'll just tell you now, she has only gone and brought shame on the house. Absolute shame. Bye.